Hi, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing my wrap up for the BookSwapAthon, the readathon that ran from the 18th of June to the 24th, which was yesterday. So I'm going to be talking about my experience during the readathon, what I read. So let's jump in. So like I said, this readathon ran from the 18th of June to the 24th of June, can't speak. And it was a week-long readathon, and it was hosted by Krista from Books and Jams and Derby from Derby Lane Reading. I'll link both of their channels down below. And it was all about swapping books. So there were 5 challenges, and I'm going to let you know what I read during the week. So I had a book picked out for every single challenge, and I managed to read 2 books and some other bits and pieces during the week, which I thought was quite good. I was at work during the week, so I took my book with me at lunchtime and things, and I did a little bit of reading at lunchtime and when I was at home and things, but I got the majority of my reading done at the weekend, so on Sunday and yesterday. So I managed normally to get through about a book a week, something a little bit extra than that. So I thought 2 books during the week plus the other stuff I read would actually quite good for me, so I was quite pleased with what I'd done. The first book that I managed to read this week was A Guide to Being Born by Ramona Ozabel. This is a collection of short stories, and I read this for the challenge to swap out the genre, so read a genre that you normally don't read. And as this is a collection of short stories, I hadn't read that many short story collections at all. I said in my TBR that I was inspired to pick this up by Joss over at Scribble to Read. She put this on her 2016 Best Books of the Year list, and I bought myself a copy of it, which I think I hauled in January. So this is a collection of short stories, I think there are something like 11 or 12, that focus around the idea of birth and being pregnant and that sort of thing. So there are 4 sections to the stories. There is birth, gestation, conception and love. And each short story is probably about 20 or 25 pages, something like that. So that it was quite nice for a readathon in the sense that I read sort of like 2 or 3 a day, something like that. So it took me no time at all really to get through. Some of the stories in here I quite liked, and they opened my eyes to sort of topics that I hadn't really thought a lot about before. But I would say the collection overall was a bit too surreal for my liking. I read the first story and was sort of thinking, oh, I sort of get the metaphor behind that. I sort of understand what the writer's trying to say. But I think the majority of the stories in here, like I said, were a bit too surreal for me. I understood what was being talked about, but I didn't really understand the meaning behind it. So I would say if I pick up short story collections in the future, I would definitely sort of I will try to pick up ones that are a bit more realist, because I think this is a bit too surreal for me. But if you like that kind of fiction, then I would definitely say that this is a good one to pick up. Like I said, I did learn quite a few things while I was reading this, and I did have an enjoyable experience, and I think I gave this collection 3 stars in the end. The second book that I managed to finish during the week of the readathon was The Wonder by Emma Donoghue, and this was my book buddy swap book, if that makes sense. So we were all paired up with a buddy for the week, or you could find your own buddy, and we had to send each other a book based on sort of things that we'd put as, you know, genres that we liked and things like that. So I had a lovely lady called Sharon pick me out this, and I said again in my TBR that I'd only ever read Room by Emma Donoghue, but really liked Room. It's one of my favourite books, so I was really interested to pick this up. And actually when I was flicking through the front pages and had a look at the list, I was sort of really surprised by how many books Emma Donoghue has actually written. So yeah, I wasn't really aware of how much stuff she's put out. So this tells the story of a little girl called Anna. Yeah, oh my god, I completely forgot her name then. Little girl called Anna, and she lives in Ireland, and she hasn't eaten for 4 months. And at the beginning of the story we meet a nurse called Lib, who has been hired to go and watch the little girl for a period of 2 weeks, along with another nurse who's a nun. And they are employed to, like I said, watch this little girl and see how she is managing not to live without food. And I said in my TBR that I thought this was going to be a little bit sort of magical realism-esque because of the fact that she wasn't eating, but it turned out to be more of a historical fiction / mystery book. When I was talking to a few people on Twitter about this, sort of at the beginning of the readathon, so a couple of days in, something like that, I said that I was finding it a little bit slow going at the beginning. The chapters were quite long, so they were sort of 60 or 70 pages each, which is not really ideal for a readathon, but there we go. But I would say by about 60% of the way through I was racing towards the end, and I really enjoyed it in the end. I thought it was well written, I thought the story was well executed, I really liked the characters, I really liked the commentary in here on religion and sort of the effects of religion at the time. This is set, I think, at the end, towards the end of the 19th century in Ireland, so yeah, sort of the way that religion was thought about at that particular time, and religion in Ireland at that particular time. So it had a good commentary on that, yeah, like I said, it was well written. I really enjoyed it in the end. I ended up giving it 4 stars, and I would definitely recommend picking this up. Yeah, I really enjoyed Emma Donoghue's writing, and I will be looking for other things that she has written now. I had 3 other things on my TBR for the BookSwapAthon, and I just thought I'd kind of update you on where I'm at with those. So I put Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer on my TBR. This was for the challenge of swapping a book at a library or a charity shop, and I got this in the charity shop last week. I'm about halfway through this at the moment. So this is a non-fiction account of a man called Chris McCandless, who was sort of a trekker traveller and died in the Alaskan wilderness, and it's just about his life, and it's also about sort of other people who have done similar things to him. So it's a true life account of that, and Jon Krakauer is kind of weaving other things in there as well. I'm quite enjoying this so far. It's got lots of other details in here which are quite interesting to read about. Yeah, and yeah, quite interested in finishing it. So I said, like I'm saying, about halfway through. I don't think it'll take me that long to get through the rest of it. The other one I picked up was And the Mountains Echoed by Claire Ticini. This was for the challenge of to pick a book that you swapped out for another book because you were interested in something else. So this is one that I sort of read the first couple of chapters of quite a few years ago now, and then put it down. So I've read a bit more of this now. I'm about 150 pages in, and I'm really enjoying the story. It kind of reminded me why I like Husseini's writing so much. He's a great storyteller, and there have been some really poignant moments in this so far. Again, the chapters are quite long in this, but it has got some break points in chapters. So yeah, but it's been quite compelling so far, so I'm interested in finishing that one off. The last book that I've been reading this week is The Marsh King's Daughter. I'll insert a picture of it here because this was for the challenge to swap out your format, so I've been reading it on my Kindle. I'm really enjoying this one so far. This tells the story of a woman who, at the beginning of the book, her father escapes from prison, and it turns out that her father kidnapped her mother when she was a teenager and took her into the marshlands, into the wild I suppose, and then they had a daughter together, and they didn't escape until the daughter was a little bit older. So like I said, at the beginning of the book, he has escaped, and she is kind of going after him. And it's going into, at the moment, lots of details about how she grew up, the sort of things that she learned in the wild, when she was living in the marshes. Yeah, it's just really captivating from that sort of point of view. That kind of, we've heard lots of stories in the press over the last few years about women being kidnapped and kept in against their will for sort of years on end, and I always find those sort of stories really fascinating, and this is kind of an extension of that, I suppose. So I'm about 40% of the way through this, really enjoying it. Again, I don't think it'll take me too long to finish. So there you go guys, that was my wrap up for the BookSwapAthon. I had a great time during this readathon, really enjoyed it. If it goes again next year, I will definitely be participating. I would encourage you to do the same. I entered lots of the giveaways. Yesterday I put up a video where I recreated the cover art for A Guide to Being Born, and that was a lot of fun to film. So yeah, like I said, I had a really good time during this readathon, and I will be highly anticipating when it comes around next year. So I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Did you participate? What was your experience of the week? Have you read any of the things that I've talked about today? Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.